And as our time together is conversational, I'm first going to start out with just asking Rasheda to talk about what it is that she does to ask for money, and how it is that she gets people comfortable with donating, and how she is comfortable with asking for money and support from her personal and professional network. Rasheda?
Well, Courtney, first, thank you so much for the introduction. I appreciate it. And guys, I apologize for my voice today. I'm losing it, but I'm going to try to get through it. So I apologize if people can't hear me. I'll try to talk as loud as possible. Again, just thank you for everyone being on the call. I think it's important thing that we're having this, but for me the walk is a very important walk because it's near and dear to my heart. As Courtney said, just being a part of the foundation in New York for 11 years, it's been great. So it's being creative for after 11 years to try to figure out how to keep going back to donors who have sponsored you throughout the years, and also new donors. And I think for me, one thing I do is I try to get creative. One, I tap into the resources. So in the very beginning, it was very difficult to say, okay, am I going to talk about myself to try to raise these monies and funds, or do I just go ahead and just say I'm walking for the foundation? I think one is very important for people to hear your story. If there's any way you can tie into why is it important, about your connection, why do you have lupus, or if you walk with someone else in your family or friend, that's important because people want to hear that personal connection that you might have. So that's one way. Also, too, tapping into your network. I think people shy away sometimes from thinking it has to be a big donation that you get, that you have to go corporately. But I think looking small as well, your friends, your family, any kind of organizations, mom and pop shops, the store that you may go to all the time. It could be, your local Duane Reade. You may have a pharmacist that you see all the time, or just a store that you typically go to. Looking at your church and doing things that way. For me, corporately, I tap into a lot of my corporate network. So for me at work, I deal with a lot of sponsors, a lot of vendors, and I broach that conversation. I look at too what they're doing with their companies and other organizations that they're sponsoring. And then I start that conversation of, hey, do you know about the Lupus Foundation? And here's some great things they're doing. And no, have you heard about my walk? And this is what's going on. And that's how I get the conversation started on a corporate level.
Thank you so much, Rasheda, for that lead-in. That is so informative. Phil, would you take a few moments to discuss what it means to ask for money and how it is that you found success?
Sure. Thank you for the introduction, and I want to thank everyone again for being on the call. This is my first year really delving into the business side of it. I'm a lupus patient, and you'll have to forgive me. I'm suffering from lupus fog. My mind's not all together, but as far as asking for money, I've never been a shy one. I'm kind of an extrovert, so it's kind of easy for me to go up to a complete stranger and start a conversation and kind of lead it into, okay, what causes the support, and once we get started with it, then I'd bring up the lupus business. But I believe in casting a wide net, and we use social media here in Chicago to get the word out. Anybody and everybody is fair game. Like I said, I'm an extrovert, so I've got no problem going up to a friend of mine and asking for help. I mean, I was a healthy man up until age 50, and then I came down with lupus. And so a lot of people that I'm friends with don't really know about lupus or what it involves. So it's important for me to get out my personal story because, like I said, my friends don't know about, some of them don't know about lupus. And the more I can get out there, the better I am. So that's really important to me to use the social media aspect of Facebook and Twitter to get that story out there.
That is great. Thank you so much. Rasheda, do you have any tips on some more of the specific ways that you reach out to people? Like, how is it that you would first start asking someone for money?
Sure. So what I do when I first start, I know our walk is coming up, so I just get my game plan set up. I set up in my head, okay, great. I know that I went to 100 plus donors the year before. I go back and say, okay, who would I need to go out to now? And also a list of people that I didn't get to reach, but I want to reach out to. So how I start initially is I get my email together, framed up, and I get it set to go out to people, one, that I work with, and also my family and friends. And it becomes talking about the foundation, talking about the walk. I make sure that I put a paragraph, in about myself, and I get that sent out. So I send to people I've already sent to the year before. So these guys are familiar, they know about it, and they're ready to donate. When I'm pulling in new people, I also do an email blast, like, hey, you know what? I spoke to you last week. I want to give you more information, on the walk. Here it is. But also, too, here's a way to donate. And I would love for you to come and join the walk on this particular date if you're in town. I've also gone as far as doing mini fundraising events that talk about the walk and get more people involved as well. So it's just a plethora of things just starting out, but I think getting that email out initially, and also too picking up the phone and having those conversations, because sometimes you don't have the email addresses, but you have a phone number, and just talking to the person, hey Karen, I'm gonna walk on this day. Would love for you to come out. Some people can't, but they also want to find out, well, how can I donate? What else I can do? And you'll get that a lot from people. What else can I do to help? And you can let them know whether it's a $1 donation to a $100 donation. All monies count.
Great. Thank you so much. It seems that both Rasheda and for you as well, Phil, that neither one of you are afraid to ask and to communicate, and then also to really personalize your asking just by telling your story and knowing that ultimately your networks and your people in your life want to give to you. So just in closing up this segment, want to talk about a couple just simple strategies that might be a great way for you to lead in for fundraising. So one of the things that we suggest at the LFA is to ask 10 people just to give $10. And that is a great way to begin to start your fundraising efforts. Also, building off of what Phil and Rasheda have said, to don't forget to use your email and your internet and your social media. And then, of course, going back to asking people face to face, think of the places where you naturally are. So what local organizations, your faith communities, the gym you go to, your grocery store, and then lastly, always remember to say thank you. Don't underestimate the power of a simple thank you. I've found that in fundraising, a lot of times that will even generate an additional donation because people are so touched by just that simple gesture of being thanked for their donation.